Financial struggle, two words that can literally suck the life out of your soul if you are in the middle of one, especially when you see people around you seemingly having endless luck with money. While there are many factors that play into what's causing issues with making or saving money, astrology can help provide insight into what may be hindering your ability to do so, as well as what intrinsic tools and personal strengths you can use to overcome it. According to astrology, certain aspects can make a person more prone to having a more difficult relationship with money. This don't necessarily mean you're gonna be poor, but rather indicate areas where you may have to work harder to achieve financial comfort. Zodiac placements most likely to experience financial struggle. Before we get into the video, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you're new. Now let's begin. Venus square Saturn. When two planets square each other, their energies are in a tense conflict, and when those two planets happen to be Venus and Saturn, it can cast a serious shadow over both your love life and your finances. Since we are focused on finances today, Venus square Saturn makes a person oscillate between being an extreme penny pincher and a wild shopaholic. Sometimes, people with this aspect end up with friends that pressure them into spending money on things that put a strain on their finances. Other times, they choose to associate with wealthier friends because they want that kind of lifestyle, and, to keep up appearances, they purchase things they cannot afford while their friends are none the wiser. Saturn in the 2nd or 8th house. The 2nd house is the house of personal finances and wealth, while the 8th house is the house of other people's wealth and possessions. When Saturn, a prime malefic planet, is in either of these houses, you may face financial hardships off and on throughout your life. In the 2nd house, Saturn suggests poor opportunities in life, business, and employment, thus cutting off chances of making enough money. It can also destine a person for jobs where the bosses do not pay well or cheat you out of your earnings. In the 8th house, Saturn can show up as wealthy family members who either do not leave you an inheritance or leave you with considerable debt that no one knew they had accumulated while they were alive. Interestingly, an 8th house Saturn can land you the role of a financial manager for someone else's money, and you can earn a good amount in such a job, as long as you stay humble and do not try to launder any of it for yourself. Venus square Pluto. This aspect shows the potential for racking up debt through small expenses that add up and become astronomical. It also shows the potential of making subscription-based purchases and then forgetting about them, leading to a constant drain of funds without realizing what's going on. Moon in the 2nd house. The individual moon sign will definitely influence how dramatic this placement can be for your financial health, but in general, having your moon in the 2nd house creates frequent fluctuations in your earning power and potential. Uranus in the 2nd house. Uranus brings entrepreneurial and change-maker energy wherever it goes, and in the 2nd house, it makes a person prone to taking big financial risks in hopes of big payouts in the future, especially if one has a business of their own or manages stocks. Remember, big risks don't always pan out unless you have fortunate planetary aspects protecting you elsewhere in your birth chart. Venus in hard aspects to Neptune. Whether it's a square, conjunction, or opposition, when the planet Venus is in a hard aspect with Neptune in your birth chart, you need to watch out for bad spending habits. This aspect makes a person prone to spending excessively on things that bring pleasure, food, entertainment, substances, while being under the false impression that they have a lot of money and can afford it. For some, this can represent a parent or grandparent with very poor financial habits, which they unknowingly transferred to their children. Venus square Jupiter. This aspect can sometimes represent a person with divorced parents who grew up in two different households that exposed them to different attitudes toward life and money. And while this alone will not create financial hardships, especially if one already belongs to a more affluent background, despite family drama, it does make a person prone to spending beyond their means and racking up a huge debt. Be careful though, this aspect also makes a person prone to revenge spending, to show their ex how amazing their life is after the end of their relationship.